All right, now for the rest of you, welcome. If you guys just tuned in from the short, my name is Daddy. My channel is Learning How to Law, and I'm trying to teach you that you have the same rights that are guaranteed to me, and that when I catch people violating my rights, you should be aware of it because they're also violating your rights. Now, very specifically, we've had a whole bunch of stuff happen to us here in Idaho. That's for a later video. This video right now is more along the lines of what the people in Colorado are doing to us currently. But we're going to discuss what is the difference between a citation, a misdemeanor, and a felony, right? Because this is the thing that police officers get mistakenly confused all the time, right? That's why, like, if you were to pull open YouTube or TikTok, you will see literally thousands of police officers in every single state. They will pull people over for citations. They will drag people out of their car for citations. They will illegally confiscate their they will, right, Fourth Amendment violations, search and seizures of their personal and private property, right? Like, police officers don't give a up, right? But they're going to violate your rights anyway because they know that you don't understand the law, and they know that you will not do anything to uphold the law, and they know that you will allow them to bully them, or to bully you, and to deprive you of your rights. So they are specifically trained to do so. They have specific training where if they're starting to lose control of the situation, they are trained to bully you and to coerce you and to extort you into giving up your rights and allowing them to maintain control at all times and to violate you however they want. Okay, so this is why it's important that you need to know the law. Now, what is the difference between a citation, misdemeanor, and felony? It's the literal, like, one is a crime, one is not a crime. A citation is not a crime, okay? It does not matter how you want to go and justify it, law enforcement. A citation is not a crime, okay? Actually, I've already pulled it up. I've used my other tools. Again, I use Cornell Legal Institute for a lot of stuff. I use Justtia Law, but because not everyone is aware of these things, I'm going to use Google because Google pulls from every source out there on the web. So they pull from all the legal journals, all the court cases out there, like everything, right? They pull from every source. So do not ever let anyone go and bully you into thinking that, oh, you use Google, or oh, you use ChatGPT, or oh, you use... No, those are all tools, okay? If you are smart enough to use a tool to get the job done, if you can save yourself time, if you can save yourself headache, right? Rather than spend dozens and dozens of hours combing through books and books and books this thick. That's just one single book that I would have had to comb through to find half the stuff that I want, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a tool to get it done like that. So again, time is money. Save yourself some time and headache. Here we go. Let me find the stuff for you. All right. So, is a citation a crime? You can all look this up in Google. That's the nice thing about doing what I'm doing right now, is everybody can do this, okay? I'm not saying that I'm the only one who's able to find this information. You are the only one who's able to find the information right here, right? Like, no, everybody has access to that because that's what equality and fairness is all about. That's what our 14th Amendment is all about, right? Fair and equal protection under the law. If you don't know about something, I am here to let you know about it because that is my guaranteed right. I don't get in trouble if I'm informing you of your rights and I'm telling you, hey, you should stand up for your rights. Legally, I am protected. Legally, you are protected. That's what federally protected rights are for, right? Okay, let me turn these on real quick. So, no, a citation itself is not a crime, but it is a formal document that alleges a violation of law and requires a response, such as paying a fine or appearing in court. Most citations are for minor, non-criminal offenses like traffic violations, though some more serious offenses can be issued as a citation instead of an arrest. However, ignoring a citation can lead to a new criminal charge for failing to appear. Right? So remember how I told you that the police will violate your rights by giving you a fee that is unwarranted anyways, right? So again, in this instance, when my wife and we had just had a brand new baby, right? My wife was driving because our daughter was kind of fussy and she absolutely loves truck rides. So we were in the truck, okay? We get pulled over by a police officer who chose to violate our rights over and over, right? Quite literally, as we were driving down the road, we see a police car haul ass past us chasing a red sports car. And lo and behold, here comes a second officer right behind them who decides they're going to pull us over with the excuse that crimes were just committed in the area and I'm pulling you over because, well, you're the only one in the area right now. Meanwhile, we're like, hello, go chase the guy who, right? And he's like, no, my partner's doing that. Don't worry, right? Like, I'm handling you. So again, we go and show him the brand new, literally brand new infant child in the car seat, right? Who's having a good old time just driving around the truck, right? She's not crying anymore because the vibrations are making her nice and chill, and she's got good music on, so she's happy, right? So again, when we have proof that we haven't done anything, but your officer wants to sit here and violate our rights. He doesn't have any objective evidence that we committed a crime, just the fact that we are in the immediate vicinity. You can't do that. You cannot, right? Like that's why right here, right? There's no crime committed. He said so himself. There's no citation that was given. He said so himself, right? Like you do not under any circumstances have the right to pull us or our property out of the vehicle and to detain us for any reason whatsoever, because again, we didn't commit a crime, you didn't see us commit a crime, and there's no recording anywhere proving that we committed a crime, right? But again, you violated our rights, and just because, I'm trying to think, we did not do anything out of fear of retaliation, right? Like that's what sucks, because I'm sorry, I've been involved in the legal system since I was a little tyke, right? Quite literally over 30 years of bullshit, okay? But that's besides the point. Learn from the shit that happened to me. Like, don't let it happen to you, right? Like I said, I advocate stand up for your rights, know your rights. Otherwise, other people will violate their rights, okay? But again, as you can see, no crime was committed. That police officer violated our rights, okay? On YouTube, you will literally see people getting dragged out of the cars, okay, for no crime committed, right? For a citation, right? An officer will use the I think it's Shapiro. Hold on, I have that. 1 second. In my laws to keep us safe. Hold on, I gotta find it. Here we go. Sorry, it's the 1977 court case, Maryland versus Wilson. A cop believes you're armed and presently dangerous, you must exit the vehicle. But do you see how messed up that is, right? They're going to use a bullshit law to go and say that I, the armed officer, am scared. You were not doing anything, but I'm going to pull you over and I'm going to create an incident because I'm scared of you. I'm going to, right? Like, does that make sense? If you're scared of somebody, you're not going to initiate contact with them. So every time an officer goes and uses this excuse, the 1997 Maryland versus Wilson, like, I believe you're armed and presently dangerous, you must exit the vehicle for my officer's safety, because my officer's safety overrides you and any of your guaranteed and protected rights. Like, do you see how messed up that is? But again, for a non-crime, you are going to interrupt me in my day. You're going to interrupt me in my privacy. You're going to interrupt me in my mode of travel, right? Because again, I'm not working. I'm not operating under a commercial capacity. You don't actually have any authority over me because again, I haven't committed any crime, right? So again, like, there's no reason for me to have to step out of my vehicle, and yet there's thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of instances in every single state that this has happened, right? So again, like, if you are not aware of your rights, you are going to allow someone else to violate your rights. So let's go back to the whole citation part, because again, right? Because again, a citation is not a crime. It is not a crime. Okay? It is a alleged violation. That's why a police officer, okay, and you can go ahead and look this up. When a police officer gets trained to do their, right, I verify that you're traveling this far over speed limit, they have to verify through radar. If they can't do that, they have to verify through visual, or there's a different way as well. There's multiple ways that they can do it, right? They have to physically give you the evidence when you request it. Otherwise, they're just manufacturing bullshit excuse to pull you over, right? Without actual evidence, without actual objective evidence. That means that there's physical proof. There's no crime committed, right? That means that it's all speculative. It is subjective. It means I made it up. Okay, this is how messed up it is. The court systems will allow an officer to be able to go out and take a test stating that, okay, I have to clock these 10 cars, and if I'm off by, let's say, 15 points for any of these cars, that's an automatic, I'm done. However, I can be wrong up to 15 miles per hour for any of these given cars, and I will not be marked off wrong. So that means that if you pass by a sign that says 30 and your GPS says that you're traveling 29 miles per hour and you've never gone over 30, but that police officer now pulls you over and states that you were going 45 in a 30, well, he's allowed to lie, and he's allowed to be up to 15 miles per hour off because that's what his certification said so, right? Like, does that make sense? So in this instance, you have to go to court and you have to prove, hey, my GPS says I was going 29. The guy wrote on the paper I was going 45. You can see that's a clear lie. That's right. Like, that's bullshit. That's a lie. That is, the officer created a lie to charge you a fee, right? And if you don't pay the fee, you get in trouble, right? We'll discuss that in just a second, but we're talking about right here. It says most citations are for minor non-criminal offenses. So no crime was committed, right? But again, you people are going to try and charge us a fine or fee and or prison time if we don't pay the fine or fee. Does that make sense? You are going to cause us financial harm. And if we can't pay the fine, because some people are living paycheck to paycheck, they don't even have an extra $5. How are they going to pay a $1,000 fine? How are they going to pay a $50 fine, huh? Right? If you toss a cigarette out, right, in Colorado, the fine in court is $999 as of, it was like 7 years ago when I had to go sit for something in court, right? There was like 20 people who got $1,000 fine, $1,000 fine, $1,000 fine because the same officer was sitting at the same traffic light and just catching people over and over and over, right? Immediate $1,000 fine. Most of these people could not pay that $1,000 fine. So you know what happened? This is what happened. Right? Because the same thing happens if you can't go and pay your fee, right? If you miss a court date for a citation, you will likely face additional penalties like a failure to appear or a failure to pay, right? Failure to appear fee, potentially an arrest warrant, and suspension of your driver's license. Because again, they feel that they can go ahead and cause you financial harm in the first place, and we're going to go ahead and deny you even more of your rights because you don't have the money to pay our bullshit excuse of, you know, right? Like I said, you have evidence that you were going 29. The officer lied, said you were going 45. If you do not have that camera to protect you, you now get in trouble because guess what? It's the court's going to take the law enforcement officer's word over yours. Why? Because they have sworn in court over and over and over that, hey, I have this training, I have this certification, I work for the government, I have more credit and weight behind my name than this scrub over here who committed the crime. Look at that criminal over there. Oh my God, right? It could be your grandma sitting there, hasn't done a single thing, has never done anything to anybody, right? Is a church deacon, has been in the freaking hospital as a nurse for the last 40 years of her life, right? Like she freaking volunteers every other night, right? Like imagine your grandma sitting there for some bullshit ticket because this officer over here lied, right? And now, because of those lies, there's even more stress and harm and this and that is being, right? Like, look at all this stuff. Look at all this stuff right here. That's not cool. And the worst thing is, right? Like, this is why, I'm sorry if it's a long video, but the worst thing is a citation, right? So a parking ticket. Let's say that you are parked in front of a courthouse. This is actually a very valid thing because this happens all the time. When my mom used to go to court because she had, like I said, I've been involved in the court system since I was a little tyke of a guy, me and both of my brothers. We had our rights violated by judges, by lawyers, by our sperm donors, right? Like over and over and over. That's the sad thing, right? My mom never got justice. However, I learned from all those mistakes. I'm not going to allow that same stuff to happen to my family, right? Like, oh, man, yeah, those are stories for a different time. However, in this instance, we're talking about just a citation, okay? Like, I'm sorry, I got a little off topic. Again, I've been doing this for quite some time. When you get a citation, right? When you are in front of the courthouse and that timer goes and it ticks off, it immediately flips red and it says that you are now over your parking time. You can't sit in this parking space anymore. If a meter maid sees that, she's immediately going to haul ass over and she's going to slap you with a ticket, right? Like she's going to put that ticket on your car. She does not have to have you be there for that. That is a citation. That citation gets put on your car and it is attached to your driver's license, your license plate, your registration on your car. Okay, if you do not pay the citation, what happens is you are no longer allowed to register next year, right? And you have to pay additional fines and fees. You are going to lose out on your you could lose out on your driver's license. You could have your driver's license suspended until you pay the stuff. And again, of course, as you see here, you could potentially get arrest warrants and jail time, because again, these people are going to do whatever they can to get a hold of you and to make sure that you pay for the supposed crime. But again, as we already stated, a citation is not a crime, okay? But again, law enforcement, I say that very loosely, law enforcement will violate the law because you do not know your rights, okay? So that citation gets attached to your driver's license, your license plate, your registration, and if you don't pay it, then you are not allowed to renew that stuff next year. You get additional fines, fees, and jail time, okay? Now, if you cannot pay this stuff, again, you go to jail, right? So again, we're keeping you from work. You can't make any money, and we still expect you to pay us. Otherwise, you're going to get in even more trouble, because if it's just like a credit card company. If you owe us $1,000 and you don't pay, we're going to charge you interest, because again, how dare you go and break the law, and how dare you rack up a bill and not pay that bill? You scum, you criminal, you absolute horrible, horrible person. Shame on you, right? That's not cool. That's not fair in any way, shape, or form. But again, thousands and thousands and thousands of police officers every single day all over the United States, not just in Colorado, not just in Idaho, not just in Washington. I have proof it happened to us. So if it's happening to us, it's happening to you, right? We were just one interaction out of these people's long career, okay? They literally violate the rights of tens of thousands of people every single year, knowingly. They do it maliciously and intentionally because, A, they collect fees and fines and all kinds of stuff for it, right? The more, if I can write 10 tickets as opposed to your 3, right, I'm going to get promoted faster, but I won't get promoted as fast as the guy over there writing 20 tickets a month, right? And who has no violations on his record. No one called to make a complaint against him, right? So again, it is in their best interest to deny us our rights because it makes them look better and it allows them to collect more from us. Because again, all the pensions, all the bonuses, every single positive aspect of being a police officer, that's paid for with our taxpayer money. They collect pecuniary benefits off of us. They are literally extorting and coercing us out of our money once when we have to pay taxes, but then they're also violating our Ninth Amendment unenumerated rights when they go and they violate the, what is it? Murdoch versus Pennsylvania court case. That's what let me pull that up. Hold on. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania court case summary.
In the * Murdoch versus Pennsylvania case, the Supreme Court ruled that a city couldn't require Jehovah's Witnesses to pay a tax for distributing religious materials. The court found this violated the First Amendment, protecting freedom of speech and religion, because it was a burden on exercising those rights. The ruling established that states can't tax constitutional freedoms.
Yep. So the state may not tax or charge a fee for a constitutional right. So again, we have the right to travel. As long as we're not working, we can travel from point A to point B unmolested and, right, like you are not allowed to bother us. Okay, if you want to go and create a lie, like I said, I have ways to prove that you're lying. Okay, so I have ways to prove that leave me alone or else, right? Like it's not a threat, it's just me exercising my rights. Okay, like I said, know your rights or other people will violate those rights. But again, very basically, Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, 1943, it is still active. Thank you, God, right? You are not allowed to charge a fee for something that should be free, for something that is a guaranteed right. So again, a citation is not a crime, right? In Colorado, do I have to hand over my ID if I have not committed a crime?
You don't have to hand over your ID in Colorado if you haven't committed a crime and aren't driving. However, police can ask for your ID if they suspect you of a crime, which is a lower standard than probable cause. If you are driving, you must provide your license, registration, and insurance.
Now, this is just a summary, okay? Okay? It's only if they have witnessed you actually in the commission of a crime, and it has to be a felony or higher in Colorado, okay? I gotta actually find that, but yes, it has to be a felony. Hold on. Because again, we have our right to not be detained. If no crime has been committed, then you're not allowed to mess with us. Let's see. Hold on, wait. Let me pull up the specific Colorado revised statute for shoot, what would that be? Here we go, right? So, hey grandpa. So very basically, is it a stop and ID state? Yes. However, again, where is it at? An officer must have reasonable suspicion that you are involved in a crime. They can require you to identify yourself, but again, that's only if they have actually seen you commit the crime, and it has to be a felony. So it's just like that in Idaho. That's why we came to Idaho and not to Washington, because let me show you that real quick. Hold on. Is Idaho a stop and ID state?
No, Idaho doesn't have a general stop and ID law. However, during traffic stops, you must show your ID, registration, and proof of insurance. They need reasonable suspicion to ask for ID in other situations.
Again, reasonable suspicion. They can't just come up to you and be like, you're driving the car, give me your stuff. No, I haven't committed a crime. So again, you have to know your rights. You have to make sure that they don't overstep their boundaries and violate your rights. Okay? If you are lawfully stopped, see this right here? Yes, you have to be lawfully stopped while driving, okay? While driving. Let me go pull something up for you real quick on my computer, right? Because it's in all my documents, right? So I don't want you to go and think that I'm just making this up, because this is actually written in federal code. So hold on, where is it at? Right up for a second. Just let me scroll up to the very top. Okay, because I have in here, let me turn this around real quick, hold on. Okay. Right, hold on. So let me scroll down. Where's it at? The Supremacy Clause found, and where is the... hold on. It's the other document. One second, hold on. Okay, it'll be in my recollection of events. Sorry. Okay, here we go. There's a Supremacy Clause. Where is the... Oh, here we go. All right. So before we begin, actually, let me just read the whole thing for you. Okay. For this document, I will go through and list the crimes committed in Idaho, where the crimes happened while we were on vacation visiting. Then I will list the crimes for Colorado directly under them, because our laws are so similar. The reason we chose Idaho over Washington. Then last, I will put the federal crimes list if possible, mainly because some states have far more severe punishment than federal levels of the same crime. The Supremacy Clause, found in Article 6 of the Constitution, establishes that the U.S. Constitution, federal laws, and treaties are the supreme law of the land and take precedence over conflicting state constitutions and laws. This means that if a state law contradicts a federal law or treaty, the federal law or treaty is considered binding and enforceable, and state judges are required to follow it. This also means state police, state lawyers, state everything, right? Okay. This clause is a foundational principle for national union, ensuring consistent application of federal authority across all states. That's why if there's a federal law, it's the same thing in Colorado, in Idaho, in Washington, in Texas, in Florida, right? Because this binds us all, okay? Let me scroll down. We are protected by universal human rights guaranteed to us since 1948. So this protects us no matter where you are in the world. Goes universal human rights, and then above that is federal law, and then above that is state law, and then above that is anything local. Okay, your rights compound from left to right. So you start here, you get all these rights, and then you get more right here, and then in addition to all these over here, you get this as well, and then in addition to all these over here, you get this as well. Okay, but however, these three cannot go and disregard this. These cannot disregard this, right? Does that make sense? It's just like, if this is the parent, the kids down here cannot go and make a rule that violates the parent's rules, okay? Like, just plain and simple, okay? Now, let's scroll down, because I need to talk to you about the legal definition of display versus handover, because this is a very important issue when it pertains to the law, federal and state. Now, even when we are pulled over, unless we've committed a crime, we do not have to surrender our license in any way. I'll take that a step further. Unless I'm driving and working in an official commercial capacity, I don't even need things like a driver's license, registration, tags, etc., because these are listed specifically for drivers conducting commercial business. We have the legal right to travel in our privately owned accommodations without interference. according to federal law. So the U.S. Constitution overwrites state policy, overwrites Colorado Springs police policy, right? Like, it's federal law first, and then you guys follow this after, right? So according to federal law, the only people who are legally required to obtain a driver's license, vehicle registration, etc., are those that are working in a commercial capacity, because they have to have a motor vehicle registered for work. Specifically, it states in 18 U.S. Code, so this is federal law, okay? 18 U.S. Code subsection 6. The term motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on contrivance on the highways in the transportation of passengers or passengers and property, or property and cargo. And then four lines under that, the term used for commercial purposes means the carriage of persons or property for any fare, fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, or directly or indirectly in connection with any business or other undertaking intended for profit. So again, when I tell you CSPD, you are not allowed to violate our rights unless we've committed an actual crime, a misdemeanor or felony, because again, a citation is not a crime. Okay, and I'm going to pull the Colorado Springs specific statute where it states that a citation is not a crime, but give me just a second to show this, because again, you people in internal affairs don't know how to do your job. You, Commander Shannon Snugs, don't know how to do your job. You're going to go ahead and try and violate our rights. However, I'm not going to stand for that. So this is very important because of this basic factor that unless we have actually broken a law, we do not have to physically hand over the ID for any reason. Here are some state codes. In Idaho Code Section 49-301 and Washington State RCW, so it's just like our revised statutes here in Colorado, they have the RCW. There specifically is 46.20.017. They both state, when driving, we must have immediate possession of our ID and display it upon lawful demand. So that means that you creating a lie, it's not a lawful demand. It's the same way in Colorado. Unless a felony has been observed, we do not have to comply with any demands for ID, as we have our Fourth Amendment right to be secure from unreasonable searches and seizures of their persons, houses, papers, and effects. So this means us, this means our house, this means our documents, and our effects means our vehicles, okay? This goes for any government official, public official, or in this instance, anyone acting with authority, as is the case of the HOA, okay? Because again, they are also a governing body. It's just like CSPD is the governing body in Colorado Springs. This HOA is a governing body in our little neighborhood, and they're trying to enforce illegal fees and fines, and they're trying to steal our property. Okay, now display versus handover. According to the law, we are required to show the license, never to give it up or surrender its contents in any way. So when you officers want to go and demand our ID without us actually being under arrest or without actually having committed a crime, you're guilty of armed assault. It's a Fourth and Fifth Amendment violation, among other things. So when an officer of the law can't even take our IDs unless we've committed a crime, no corporate business is going to overextend their authority and steal what is rightfully ours, right? So again, if police can't do it, if attorneys can't do it, if a judge can't do it, you, the HOA, definitely cannot do that, because you have less authority than what they do, right? So I bring all of this up for very important reasons. My family and I are visiting from out of state. We belong in Colorado. That's where our family is. That's where our home is. And that's where we're trying to get back to. Fortunately for us, Article 4, Section 2, Clause 1, the Privileges and Immunities Clause, that's the one I was telling you about. Also, the 9th and 14th Amendment all guarantee our right to travel. Very specifically, Article 4, Section 2, Clause 1 ensures the citizens of each state are entitled to the privileges and immunities of citizens of the states we're visiting. Very basically, this means that if I'm traveling to Idaho, you're supposed to treat me as if I was born here and I have the same rights as you, okay? If I travel to Alaska, same thing. If I travel to New York, same thing. I'm protected by federal law and then Colorado law because that's where I'm from, and then whatever state that I'm traveling to, okay? Know your rights. Here we go. But again, very basically, a citation is not a crime. So you guys trying to treat citations as crimes, that's BS. But when I bring to you valid misdemeanors and felonies, see, those are actual crimes. Those are the stuff you're supposed to go and enforce. Let's take a look at that, okay? All right, so everything that I listed for you at the beginning of the video, right? What's the penalty for a citation, okay? Could range from paying a fine to a driver's license suspension. Minor citations usually result in a fine, but other things can happen. You can lose points on your driver's license, and we all know that if you lose enough, you have to give up your driving privileges. That means that your insurance is going to go up as well. That means that, right, like all kinds of financial harm, economical harm, all kinds of other harm is going to happen because of the supposed crime. Again, a citation isn't a crime. Okay, but again, they will treat it as a crime and they will violate your rights. Okay, so let's see. They could set a warrant for your arrest. That's exactly what I told you. They can put the bench warrant out. Yep. Increased insurance rates, jail time. See that? For more serious offenses, penalties can include a year of jail time and a fine of up to $1,000. So, and again, if you're a no-show, they give you more fines. If you can't pay the original fines that they gave you, they're going to tack on more fines. Right? So let me show you. Hold on one sec. Right? So let's see. A misdemeanor is a less serious type of crime than a felony, punishable by fines and or imprisonment for up to 1 year in a county jail rather than a state prison. Common examples include petty theft, simple assault. So again, when I remind you people that the police officers committed simple assault when they issued threats, right? Do this or else, right? Or you're not allowing me to do that, and I'm going to, right? I'm going to do this if you don't stop, or I'm going to do this if, right? That's a very simple threat. Okay. When the HOA states you have 10 days, 20 days, 30 days to pay a fine, a bullshit fine, or to give us your property because we like it and we want it, right? If you don't pay us by that time, we're going to charge you an illegal fine or get a tow truck out there to take your property, right? Like, see, that's a simple threat. Okay. And disorderly conduct. Creating harassment, as I already showed you in the last video, is disorderly conduct. That is the literal definition of it. That's what allows them to go and arrest someone for a misdemeanor, right? Because it's not just a citation, that's an actual misdemeanor. But again, see, police officers, they want to try and uphold their laws, their citations. Those are the rules that they made specifically so that way they can charge us. But they don't want to uphold the actual state laws and federal laws that they're tasked with doing, right? So again, let me show you this picture, okay? This is much better than the long listing. See how a first-time offense, jail time is up to 180 days. A second offense or more is up to a year, right? So when we have 8 people committing crime after crime after crime after crime over the course of 8 years, I have multiple I have at least 4 instances where I have documentation where they're lying and committing violations against us, right? Those are, it's not just a first offense, that's a second, third, and fourth offense. See, so that's 4 years right there that they should be getting, no less. Fines, up to $2,500 for a first offense. However, because there's 4 instances, those each are $150,000 now. You see that? See how the police are violating our rights and they're not upholding the law? Just probation for a first-time offense, up to 3 years. But because there's 4 offenses, the judge is going to take that into account, right? Because again, it's up to judge's discretion. See, so again, this is just for misdemeanors. This is the stuff that very bare minimum, I prove that there's at least one happening. You have to now go and do your job, but you want to hang up on us. You want to deny us our rights. You want to go and say, oh no, nothing happened. Well, all my recordings and phone calls prove otherwise. All the documentation, the emails that they've sent prove otherwise, right? The harassing emails, see, that's proof of, again, harassment. Okay, let's look up a felony real quick. Hold on, that's the next screen. Felony classifications, look at that. So, class 1, first and second degree murder charges, right? Those are really super serious. Then all the way down at the bottom, class 6. Least serious felony charges, right? Sometimes reduced to misdemeanor level charges because, again, if we can go ahead and make it to where, if we can be lenient on you, then we're going to. That's basically what that means. However, that's typically if there's just one crime being committed. In this instance, we have 27 violations the first time, 27 violations the second time, 27 violations the third time, 27 violations the fourth. See how that adds up? And that's just with the HOA. That's just with the 8 separate individuals in the HOA. Now we also have your bad police, Officer Bornstein, Andrew, badge 5790, Sergeant Robert McCaffrey, Commander Shannon Snugs, Chief of Police Adrian Vasquez, the person in between them, Mary Rosnioff, right? Like, all you people want to violate our rights, you can't do that, right? That's the whole, the crime that you guys have committed. It's called pattern and practice. That's a specific lawsuit that you guys are going to be getting in trouble for, right? But you see how there's different levels of felonies? There's really not serious ones and there's really serious ones. When I have a list of 27 felonies and you don't want to report them, remember the last video how I told you that's a specific crime called misprising of felony, right? You get in trouble for that, no less than 1 year and $250,000 fine, because that's a federal code, right? But again, this is a citation, this is a misdemeanor, this is a felony, right? I'm letting you know in internal affairs. I'm letting you know, all the judges and the attorneys who are going to see this. I'm letting the insurance company know who's going to see this, because your officers want to go and play as though we're going to collect the pecuniary benefits from you. We're going to take your taxpayer money, and we're going to get a paycheck and salary and 401k and HSA tax benefit and insurance here and retirement here, and right, like, you're going to pay for our schooling. You're going to pay for us to have a car. You're going to pay for us to have gas in the car. You're going to pay for our guns, our tasers, our everything, our uniforms and equipment, the building that we work out of, all that. Taxpayer money. Those are pecuniary benefits. Those are benefits that you get free just for being a police officer. When you don't want to do your job, you lose those benefits and you go to jail. So I'm going to stop this. This video is now 35 minutes, but again, combined with my other videos where I proved harm and I proved the 3 things needed for a crime to be committed: the actual crime itself, the motive behind the crime, and concurrence, which is the crime and the second thing happen at the same time. I've proven that. I've also proven the difference between a citation, a misdemeanor, and a felony, and proven the fact that, again, you people want to go and deny us when we've had misdemeanors and felonies committed against us. So, no, you can't do that. But this is the other video that I told. Oh no, hold wait. I got to show you something else. 7 more minutes of your time. I need to show you the phone call where the housing authority agent stated very specifically that we did not commit a crime, that we never committed a crime, and that you guys are harassing us now, the HOA and now you CSPD, because you people don't want to do your job, and you want to just drag this out and violate our rights. So give me 1 second while I find that. Hold on. I love having everything on video and recorded, right? You can't argue with a video. There we go. In my folder saved over here, okay, we have HOA issues, videos, and documents right here. First call with Pat from HOA. I'm not going to do the 45-minute rant. This is the 7-minute phone call right here.
Okay, I'm going to be making a phone call to the people in the HOA, just so that way I can ask them what email address specifically I can send it to, because this is rather important and I need it to be read immediately, and so the phone number that they give.
Okay, I'm going to skip through it just because she needs to verify all of our information, but hold on. Just so you know, this is the address that we're discussing, okay? Let me see, let me find that for you.
Paul, A for Alpha, T for Tom.
Okay, I'm sorry. So can I get like an employee number or something like that?
Tom.
Okay.
Yes, please provide your property address.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, my name is Pat. I'm one of the customer service here at Real Manage. Can you please provide me your property address, sir?
Did you say Beth?
Pat. It's P for Paul, A for Alpha, T for Tom.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, Pat, okay, there we go. So let me fast forward a little bit more.
Just so we're clear, just sent me a letter, M-A-N, so Tetman, and then Lane.
Okay, perfect. And who am I speaking with?
So you're speaking with Mr. Cortez. I'm calling because my mother-in-law just sent me a letter, and you guys are basically trying to repossess my truck because you state that the tags are out of date. Just so we're clear, in Colorado and across the United States, I only have to have tags registered on my vehicle if I were to be working. And because it's a privately owned vehicle and it's been paid off for years and I can choose to do whatever I want with my property, I don't have to have it registered if I'm not working. So the fact that you're complaining about expired tags and it's not up to date and we're going to repossess your vehicle, you are violating several of my universally protected human rights, my constitutionally protected rights, and I'm going to be sending you litigation. I have a 45-minute video that I have to send, so I need to know what email address that I send it to, and I need to basically be speaking to either a manager or a member of your legal team at this point, because you people cross the line very severely, and you violated not only my rights but the rights of my mother-in-law as well. And I'm going to make sure that she also gets paid for this as well. But you're dealing with me now, so I need to. This is what I need from you. So, thank you.
Yes. No worries. I understand about your concern right now and frustration since in regards to the parking deck. And so, just to confirm, just to make sure I do have the right account here. So your mother-in-law name will be
Is my mother-in-law. That is correct.
perfect.
So,
And also, Mr. Cortez, since I don't see any more information here right now in the account, so if
Yeah.
you want to.
Wait.
Okay, so just to be perfectly clear, they sent this document out roughly 30 days before, so that means that they have to have it in email and it has to be in writing inside their system. And with any kind of complaint, for a letter to be generated, there has to be a verified criminal complaint. So just like with law enforcement, somebody else, a third party, has to call and say, hey, I have had my rights violated. This is what happened with the people over at this address, and I need you to do something about it. And then that generates something in the system, and then once it's in the system, then you can send me a letter stating that, hey, you broke this law, or you violated this HOA policy, or, right, like, but nothing ever happened. None of that was ever a thing, and as you can see, there's no documentation for that because, again, there's no actual complaint. So again, all the letters that they sent are invalid because there's no actual need. So when the letters state that you now owe us money for this lie, you now have to give us your property because of a lie, see how that's fraud? They are maliciously and intentionally trying to defraud us of our either money or property. And again, I already explained to you in the Colorado revised statute for harassment. I can show you that again, but that is not allowed.
Wait, so
Send an
wait,
email
wait,
and
wait, wait.
attach the video.
I'm sorry. You said you didn't see any what in the account? There's no what?
Yeah, I don't have that more information about you mentioned about the parking tax. So here's what I do. You mentioned about you need to attach this video since you do have a proof.
Wait, so hold on. Wait,
I'm going to
I have.
provide you-
Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. Wait. So I just have a follow-up question before you get too far and I lose my train of thought. So there's nothing notated in the system that there's a violation of any form, is what you're saying, right? Because otherwise you would know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, in regards to the violation notice, so any violation, you need to send an email directly to the committee managers in Miller Crossing Owners Association. Since I don't see your name here listed on file, I better suggest you to send an email directly to them in Miller's Crossing Owners Association. I'm going to provide you their email address, so you can go ahead and attach the videos that you mentioned. And also, you need to write it with your own words to make it sure it addresses it properly, so that the committee manager or the assistant will give you a feedback once you send an email to them. I'm going to provide you right now, verbally, the email address.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so again, I have already provided all this information to you. However, I need to point out one final thing. Again, as I already stated, there's no criminal complaint. Okay, there's nothing in the system to generate these letters being sent out in any way, shape, or form. There's no ethical reason. There's nothing. Okay, so again, when no crime has been committed, you do not have any legal right to bother us. Like, there's not even a HOA policy violation, so there's not even a chance for a citation. Okay, so again, a citation, that's not a crime. A misdemeanor is an actual crime. A felony is an actual crime. None of that is present here. Right? What are the things that you need to be able to prove a crime has happened? Number one, you need harm. So when these people cause us financial harm, they're trying to charge us fees that shouldn't be allowed. They're trying to take possession of our property. That's economical, financial harm. That's physical harm. And that's, like I said, in the videos I explained it last night. Go watch that. But again, we have had harm committed against us. When I have to spend money to fix the issue, right, that's financial harm. We had to do that because of these lies. I have receipts. That's why I reached out to you. See, that's actual harm. I'm the verified criminal complaint. Okay, that's what you need for an actual crime. And then again, what are the three things you need? You need, number one, the crime itself. So again, public misconduct, public disorder, right? Being a public nuisance, harassing people, violating our right to privacy, violating our right to holiday and rest and relaxation, violating our right to family, right? Like all those 27 different violations. Okay? You can't do that. Man, like I said, like, You law enforcement, I say that very loosely, I use air quotes, right? You law enforcement cannot play attorney. When I bring to you a valid crime, okay, because I gave you the crime and I gave you the reason for the crime, stating that these people, just like you, collect pecuniary benefits. They collect fines and fees because people don't know any better and they're going to pay it rather than get in trouble. Or, if, like in my letter, give us your truck by this date or else, that's a simple threat. They can follow through with that threat because they're either going to charge a fine, a fee, or they're going to repossess my truck with a tow truck, right? You can't do that. That's okay, so that's the first thing, and that's the second thing happening at the same time. That's concurrence. Those are the three things you need to prove a crime has happened. So thank you for listening. I have given you plenty of information in regards to this. I'm sending it to Internal Affairs. This will eventually make it to the insurance people, and this is also going to be going to our attorney as well. So keep that in mind. This is not to be taken as coercion or extortion. This is simply a matter of cause and effect. You caused this to happen. The effect is that, well, you violated the law and you're going to get in trouble for it now. So thank you.